The Battle of Queenston Heights is historically known as one of the most famous battles from the War of 1812. The Queenston Dinner Committee has a commemorative event next month to mark the war's anniversary from October 13, 1812. Here in the studio is committee member Brian Pihack. Brian, why is the Battle of Queenston Heights so significant to Niagara and all of Canada?
Well, Queenston Heights was a turning point for the War of 1812. You must understand that Madison proclaimed war on Canada, and he thought he could just walk in and take us over. And we had a commander by the name of Sir Isaac Brock, and he had a different way of putting this war together. He marched on Fort Detroit, and literally took Fort Detroit without even firing basically a shot. Like, it was an amazing subterfuge. He was a brilliant commander, and he took the fort. Then soon after that, Fort Mackinac was taken, again under Brock's orders, and was done just about the same way with almost no shots fired at all. And the natives, seeing all of this, wanted to, solidify their commitment to the Brits. So they went and took Fort Dearborn, which we now know as Chicago. So we've got these three embarrassments for the Americans after saying, oh, we're just going to walk right into Canada. And all of a sudden they got it handed to them. So Queenston Heights was under great control of the British. Okay, we had Brock over at Queenston, and it basically allowed us to run the Great Lakes. And the commanders at Fort Niagara were told, okay, you take Queenston Heights, because this then would allow us to control all of the Great Lakes. And in doing so, had they done that, the British probably would have basically been driven back all the way to Kingston, and the Niagara Peninsula would have fallen under the auspices of the Americans. We would have lost Niagara as a colony. So Queenston Heights was very important. It was one of these little focal points in the war.
We recognize Sir Isaac Brock here in Niagara. We have the university, we have the monument in Queenston. Does he get enough recognition throughout all of Canada, though?
Probably not. I would guess that a lot of Canadians have heard of Brock. Some of them may have even heard about his charge up Queenston Heights to regain the battery, but few people even know very much about that battle at all, and it was an incredible battle. The Americans, at first, they were going to attack Queenston Heights, and the militia didn't want to, so they basically pushed some of the boats into the river and let them go downriver. And Brock saw these empty boats, wondering, what's going on? Is this an actual invasion? Is this subterfuge? What is going on? But the Americans did come across at Queenston and took Queenston Heights. And they had about 1,000 to 1,500 soldiers up there. And of course, they were maintaining that point very well. Brock realized he had to regain the battery that was about halfway up the Verdun battery, so he took a group of men and charged the hill. Unfortunately, for him, it didn't work out too well. He was taken down by a Kentucky long rifle. Now, a rifle, not a musket. So these guys could hide behind trees. They had rifled instruments. They were very accurate, and they took Brock down. And then shortly after, MacDonnell tried the same thing, and he was taken down too. The Indigenous, the group under Chief Norton and Chief Brant, basically climbed up a little bit west and were pinning the Americans down with their skirmishing and their war cries and keeping literally 1,300 men bottled up. And then Sheaffe came up from Niagara on the Lake, Fort George, and he went a little west up the escarpment, and he attacked from the west going east, so he had the sun behind him. And a bayonet charge by, I think it was about 300, give or take, regulars and 250 Indigenous forced the surrender of about 1,000 Americans. And in the battle, 300 Americans were killed or wounded. We lost 28, unfortunately with General Brock, and about 77 wounded. So we turned the tides on them and took back Queenston. It was an incredible battle.
One place we can learn a little bit more about Isaac Brock and the Battle of Queenston Heights is Navy Hall, Friday, October 18th. Tell me what's happening that night.
Well, in 1847, a group called the Loyal Canadian Society got together and said, we have to remember these events. If these events had not taken place in modern terms, we wouldn't get to watch the Grey Cup or eat poutine. So the memories of that event, the sacrifices of the people, have to be remembered. And the committee put together a dinner commemorating. Now, it was a high military class dinner. You had to go in a mess kit, a proper period correct outfit, so to speak, and they would have this dinner. It continued on for quite a while. It had a little short respite, and then back in 1956 it came back, and we've been going ever since. And the dinner will be held very similar to the one in 1847. Again, you must come in either your mess kit if you're military, period correct outfit, or a dark business suit out of respect, and the ladies, of course, as well, wearing what they would need to. The toasts will be very much the same as it was in 1847. The passing of port will be exactly done as 1847, all in remembrance and understanding what these people did for us.
What time does it all start, and what else can people expect that attend?
You should show up about 6:30 for 7 o'clock, but this is by invitation only. And again, because Navy Hall is somewhat smaller, there's a limited number of seats. I think there are still a few left. If you're interested, just send an email to queenstondinnerinfo@gmail.com, and we will get back to you right away.
Friday, October 18th, Navy Hall, Niagara-on-the-Lake. You're celebrating Sir Isaac Brock. Brian, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.